Hey, everybody, I'm Tommy, and you are on the lifeboat. Listen, if you have never watched a true crime channel before, you may be asking yourself, why would he be covering this on a true crime um, channel? Reese is in the hizzy. Yes, she is. Reese, I'm glad that you are here. That would be my better half. G-Man, how are you? You may be asking yourself, why would I be talking about this? For those who have been following Hollywood for a while, you might recognize why I would do a show like this. I can't stand the idea that they get together and pat each other on the back and talk about just how damn important they are. When the truth of the matter is, the entire city is filled with people who are able to beat the crime on a regular basis. Congratulations. 16 years today sober. That's fantastic, Lisa. Couldn't be happier. That is awesome. What a kind thing to say, Reese. I was going to go with black tie, but my tux did not come back from the Ecuadorian cleaners in time. So I decided to just put on this shirt here, but I'll take it. So I feel like there are some awards that don't get given out every year at the Oscars. See, they just get together to make each other feel good. So I'm going to give out a couple of awards tonight. This is going to be the first annual, because I have been boycotting this award ceremony for a very, very long time. So today I am launching the first annual Pedowoods festival. I'm not going to call it the Oscars. Truthfully, I'm disgusted by the entire concept. And the sad thing is, I used to really dig Hollywood. There was a time where I thought it was one of the coolest things in the world. Then I kind of grew up. But we're going to go over some awards because I think that there are some people that probably aren't going to get awards today. You know something? Carmela, thank you so much for the support, Carmela. I really appreciate it. You are keeping free speech alive. Roberta, good to see you. How are you? And it means the world to me, and I mean that. So for those who have been paying attention, I'm on day 3 with no food. So if I get a little grumpy, I'm at least going to try to aim it at Hollyweird. And Roberta, who is keeping track, says, what are you people doing? 64 likes out of 195 of you. You know, it's starting to hurt my feelings a little bit. Yeah, I tried. The next year, the tux will come back from the cleaners. I am in a developing country. I'm giving them 365 days. But next year, I will be in full black tie. This is about as good as I could pull off this time. Why, thank you, Ruth. What a kind thing to say. Reese has always been a big fan of this shirt. So before we get going with the normal awards, I would like to give out a Lifetime Achievement Award for Hollywood. This isn't something that I do, lightly. Truthfully, Lifetime Achievement's a big deal. But this one is going to a gentleman by the name of Dan Snyder. If you're not familiar with who Dan Snyder is, Dan Snyder completely fixed Nickelodeon when it was not profitable. How, you ask? Well, he did a couple of things. Number one, he changed their logo to a foot. Why? Because he has a foot fetish. Nothing wrong with a foot fetish. I'm damn fond of feet myself. My wife has the most beautiful feet I've ever seen in my life. It's one of the reasons we're still together. It's one of the reasons we were originally together. I saw her feet the first time, I think, on YouTube and was taken aback. It was live in Florida, if I remember correctly. I'm sorry. Johnny says, pull it together. You're off on the foot fetish thing. But Dan Snyder changed the logo. The difference is I don't mock people for a foot fetish. However, if the feet you're into are under the age of, say, I don't know, old enough to have a learner's permit, then that's an issue. He was the Nickelodeon powerhouse producer behind hits like iCarly and Victorious. Accused of toxic work environments, sexualized content for kids, foot fetish jokes in scripts, and inappropriate behavior with young actors. He denies it all, sued the Quiet on Set docuseries for defamation. He left Nickelodeon in 2018 amid a backlash. Oddly enough, not in the Epstein files. Not sure how that happened. But if you ever watched Nickelodeon back in the day, and as parents, look, I used to let my kids sit in front of it and watch it. And I didn't really pay attention until years later. Hello, Punisher. Almost every single one of the episodes ended with a young girl, and I mean prepubescent, young girl, getting squirted in the face with something. Toothpaste, whipped cream, soda. But there was always a face shot at the end of all of these. How the world didn't go, wait, this is weird, right? And if you start to look back at all of the people that were under his tutelage, half of them went on to a life of crime. Amanda Bynes jumps out off the page. I'm not going to embarrass Amanda Bynes any more than the world has. But if you see what has happened to her, she's got tattoos on her face. She's really sort of turned out into a mess. And one of the reasons for this is because of the people at Nickelodeon. So winner of the Lifetime Achievement Award for being a scumbag of epic proportion goes to Dan Snyder. Dan, sue me, bud. Come on, take a shot. Sue me, Dan. You are an absolute pedophile. How's that word? Can't say that one on here either. I'm not sure if you knew that. Yeah. And the truth of the matter is, at the end of every one of these awards, I'm going to be telling you yes, he did have a foot fetish. He changed their logo to a foot. I started off by talking about that. I am going to be telling you what happened to these people criminally. So in the case of him, no criminal charges, no convictions. A Viacom CBS investigation found no evidence of sexual misconduct, though verbal abuse was alleged. None. There are people that said he paid for abortions because he got them pregnant before they were old enough to have a learner's permit, but nothing was ever filed. And this is what makes Hooray for Pedowoods just one of those places that deserves to be mocked at every turn, because these people exude evil. And unfortunately, the targets are very often children, and they will protect somebody, well, if they're selling a lot of commercial airspace on whatever it is they're making. Terry McMullen, DJ Daddy-O, good to see you here, man. I'm honored. Number 2, this is an award that I don't know that we'll be able to give next year, but this is the best Epstein dinner date. And this one goes to Woody Allen. Boy, could we spend some time talking about Woody Allen. By the way, Woody cannot be here to accept the prize this evening. He's banging his former stepdaughter at the moment. Iconic director like films like Annie Hall faced abuse allegations. He denied them and popped up in the Epstein emails, calendars for dinner, and movie chats. Still making indie flicks in 2026 with no Oscar band. Perfect, right? For legacy in Hollywood. This is a guy that literally had an email from Epstein when he said, so what are we going to be doing in Paris? And Epstein wrote back, we're going to a pedophile convention. Did you catch that? No lie. I'm not making this shit up. We're going to a pedophile convention. And he wrote back and said, he corrected him, and he said that if pedophile was plural, it should have been pedophiles because there's 2 of them, but pedophiles shouldn't be spelled that way. They find this funny. They think it's okay that they're off molesting children and that this should just be acceptable. And does Hollywood give a crap? No, he's out there. He's doing stuff. The people in how do you not ban this cat from showing up at the Oscars? Now, he's probably not there tonight. As I said, he's probably doing stuff with his former stepdaughter, now live in common law. I don't know what you want to call her. I don't know that they've actually gotten married. As far as criminal disposition, no criminal charges or convictions. Allegations of child sex abuse were investigated by the police. No evidence were found, and the prosecutors declined to pursue due to lack of credibility. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that jumps off the page here. He's now with his former wife's adopted daughter, who he was having a relationship with prior to her being old enough to buy a cigarette. There is no affiliation other than kink. Thank you, Barbara Waite. I really appreciate it. And I will name names, and I'm going to say it the wrong way, so no one's going to see this. But you guys are lucky enough. Come back tomorrow and watch how few people see this video, because they're going to bury this bad boy, I promise you. What is a legitimate reason for feet to be a logo for Nickelodeon? What's the connection other than kink? There isn't one. There isn't one. I did a great show on this a long time ago, and he was the one that pushed to change the logo of Nickelodeon to a foot. That was Dan Snyder. Why? Because he's into feet. I like feet. I do like them a little bit older. Who are we talking about? You're a little late. Well, the last award winner was Woody Allen. But head back, because we're not done. Outstanding performance in a courtroom drama winner. And this one hurts, folks, because I was a fan. But Mr. Kevin Spacey. Oscar-winning actor from The House of Cards and American Beauty, photographed with Epstein and Maxwell, flight logs plus multiple sexual assault trials, acquitted in some, ongoing, others are still ongoing. He denies Epstein crimes. Low-key comeback in indie films, but industry shuns him. He's not blocked from going to the Oscars, though. They haven't done that. Charged with multiple counts, yeah. So the sad thing about Kevin Spacey is he has beat all of the charges. However, when there's this much smoke, there's fire. I'm not saying the guy's a rapist, right? I'm not. But he has done things to people that if they did to your kid, you'd be taking them to court. And there are some people that have been very, very outspoken about this who never brought charges against him, but just want the world to know who he is. It's a bummer to me because I absolutely love the man's work. I am getting good at separating the ability to see art from the human being behind it, right? This started with Ferris Bueller's Day Off when Principal Rooney got busted for taking pictures of underage boys. The crazy thing is this. If you're into true crime, all of the crimes I'm talking about would get you 20 years in any other place but Pedowwood. Because in Pedowwood, they will absolutely protect you just as long as you continue, right, to make money for them. Because that's really the only thing that matters in Hollywood. They don't care. They absolutely do not care. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil was so good. Yeah, he was amazing in Horrible Bosses. I just watched that yesterday. The number 4, this is a Hall of Fame award. We don't give these lightly. But this is the Hall of Fame Be Kind Hypocrisy winner of Ellen DeGeneres, right? Her motto, literally, she'd go out and say, be kind. Daytime TV queen whose talk show ran 19 seasons, hit with 2020 toxic workplace claims, racism, bullying, producer misconduct. She apologized but denies the specifics. Epstein rumors. Now, she's denying these Epstein rumors, but we'll be talking about this later. There's a lot in there about how she was a really big fan of jerky. If I say jerky, you would think turkey jerky, right? Beef jerky. There's usually something that goes before the word jerky. There are people that allege, there are people that allege cannibalism. And when people first started sending me emails about this, I said, that is friggin' ridiculous. However, it's not. I don't believe it is anymore. There's also some stuff in there talking about how you have to keep this stuff fresh. You don't have to keep jerky fresh. The idea of jerky is you don't keep it fresh. You treat the meat with crap loads of salt. You understand? And then a year later, you can go and eat it. There's no such thing as fresh jerky. This, Timothy Busfield is honorable mention. He is actually. He gets an honorable mention award since we have not followed all the way through with that, but I am going to be mentioning it. There's also Roman Polanski. He was arrested in the USA for drugging and raping a 13-year-old girl with Quaaludes. It's absolutely disgusting that these pedophiles are praised and worshipped by Hollywood. They continue to give this man awards. He can't come over to get them, right? There's also a lot about this guy, and this is, again, honorable mention, but there's a lot about Roman Polanski that the rest of the world probably doesn't know. For instance, there was a set of 16 millimeter film that was found at the Tate LaBianca murder scenes, particularly, obviously, the ones at Sharon Tate's house. They were found in the attic, and they depicted Sharon Tate tied up, getting banged by multiple guys while Roman Polanski filmed it. This was a sick bastard, right? This is a really, really sick individual. Those tapes were buried by the really fantastic Vincent Bugliosi, the guy that prosecuted the case because, well, it just didn't fit the case's narrative. So they just simply handed it back to him on day 3. God bless Hollywood. You think that would happen in any other part of the world? Oprah? Yeah, Oprah should get honorable mention, but I have a feeling next year she might get the Lifetime Achievement Award. So hold out for Oprah. I have high hopes for her for next year. What is it with kids? I don't get it. I don't understand. Let me see if I can explain this. Honestly. Saw a really great documentary about this. And this guy's theory, and he has like 40 initials after his name, right? I have C-O-N. I don't have a lot of cool initials. But this guy said that these people have everything, right? They work their ass off to do everything possible to get rich and to get famous. And once they do, they're hollow inside. They think that fame is going to make them happy, right? Like Marilyn Monroe or anybody else whose stories are now kind of part of our culture. They thought that being adored by the public would make them happy. It didn't. But they've got everything. You got the house in the hills, you got 5 cars, and you keep buying stuff. So they go for something that they lost. And in a lot of these people's lives, it's the innocence of being a child. So what do? They molest kids to bring that innocence back. Truthfully, it's horrible, but it's a fact. The guy also goes on to talk about people in politics and how a lot of these guys, no disrespect to any of them, weren't the cool kids in high school, right? They weren't the kids that were out there raising hell, having fun, being stupid. They were the kids in high school that did everything right and didn't have much of a high school life, didn't have much of a teenage life. So now that they've got everything in life, they go back and try to live that by victimizing people that they looked on that group, that age that they were so attracted to as youngsters, but didn't get a shot at, which is really horrific, right? But that, and don't hate on me. This is not my theory. I remember the Roman Polanski deal. When that story broke, Whoopi Goldberg came out supporting Polanski. Her comment was, it it really wasn't rape. No, he used a Quaalude to knock her out and then just had sex with a 14-year-old. He didn't beat her up. He didn't hold her down. He didn't have to. He let the RORA 714 do that. Dirtbags, every one of them. By the way, Whoopi Goldberg doesn't get honorable mention, but she did beg Jeffrey Epstein for a ride on one of his planes because she was quite willing to go out and do charity work, but not if she had to ride on an airplane with all of us lowlights. She wanted a private jet to take her to the event. Whoopi, although you do not get an award here at the Lifeboat, you do get honorable mention. You suck. Sorry. Lisa Renfro. Lisa, I'm glad that you're here. Most convincing pedophile portrayal, real life edition. This is Brian Peck. Now, this is important because some of you may not know who Brian Peck is. I uploaded images of every one of these people. And then I thought to myself, I'm not putting these people's faces on my channel. It's disgusting. I'm sorry. I don't mind a regular criminal, but these people, they're allowed to go out and continue to live. And I want no part of having anything to do with them other than mocking them. But this was a Nickelodeon dialogue coach on All That and the Amanda Show. That would be Amanda Bynes. What that show did to her, there's no coming back from. Convicted in 2004 for sexually abusing teen actor Drake Bell. Out of curiosity, you get convicted of sexually abusing a young boy? What kind of time you figure you're looking at? In any other place than Pedowoods? How much time, Johnny Scoville? Take a shot in the dark. 16 years, you say? No. How about 16 months? He served 16 months and has to register as a sex offender. Shockingly, he worked at Disney after his conviction. So Disney, there's a award for you too. Arrested again in 2004 on 2 counts of lewd act upon a child 14 to 15. He is now serving 10 plus years and oral copulation for a person under the age of 16. Sorry, he was sentenced to 10 years, did 16 months. How about that? Huh? That's good work if you can get it. No other place on planet Earth does that happen. I promise you. It's not how it works. But Hollywood, see, when they say that there is a 2-tiered justice system, there are people that say, yeah, whites, blacks. No, it's money, right? And Hollywood will protect its own because there is this beautiful city out there where dreams come true and all of that. Almost dropped one. And all of that trash. And it is not the truth. Thank you so much, Neptune's Lioness. I appreciate it. And it's going to help because I promise you, folks, you guys are lifeboaters. Come back tomorrow. If this puppy has 3,000 views, I will be shocked because we are not talking about things. Bryan Singer gets an achievement award tonight, Monica. But one of the reasons that we're not going after Bryan is because I'm doing a whole show on Bryan Singer. I got an entire show. It's going to be 2 hours long. If you don't know who Bryan Singer is, that may be a good thing. However, I promise you're going to know who Bryan Singer is when I'm done with him. Best name drop in an Epstein file to not be prosecuted goes to, drum roll, Leonardo DiCaprio. Not only famous for trading out girls every time they hit the age of 25, he's also been named in Epstein files about as much as anyone else. His name comes up a lot. And I do mean a lot. By the way, that is just water. I'm not blowing my fast. I'm on day 3.5 or something. A-list actor, 2026 Best Actor nominee for Sinners. How appropriate. Epstein claimed to know him. No meetings proven. DiCaprio denies any connection. Environmental activist by day, but the buzz follows him to the red carpet tonight. And that red carpet leads straight to hell. He's never been charged or anything. He testified as a witness in a 2023 money laundering trial, but no wrongdoing alleged. Epstein mentions are unproven name drops. Yeah, because what do those two have in common, right? I mean, obviously, he likes girls that are over the age of 18. He also was photographed a lot at Diddy's parties. And I don't mean the parties where you're on the red carpet. I mean the parties afterwards where you look shit-faced and you got a bottle of champagne in one hand and a cigarette hanging out of your mouth. Remember those? If you've been here long enough, I showed that image 150 times when I was covering Diddy. This is a guy that if he's not a pedo, he'll do until the pedo shows up. You follow me? He is a lowlife. Deadliest onset. One second. Took a while, but I finally chased down this damn Hamilton. You are a stud. Gary Mackey, I really appreciate you, man. I really, really appreciate you. Best On-Set Accident Award. Drum roll, please. Alec Baldwin, actor from 30 Rock and films like The Departed, ongoing 2026 manslaughter trial from the 2021 Rust shooting, denies fault. Also in Epstein's contact books. No deeper ties than that. But he is a past Oscar host. Might still show his face. He was indicted in 2024 for involuntary manslaughter in the Rust case. Pleaded not guilty. Trial ongoing. Previous 2014 disorderly conduct, biking violation summons, 2018 misdemeanor assault. This guy is a loose cannon like you wouldn't believe. He's forever smacking paparazzi. He's forever screaming at people and cursing and getting in their face and talking about how he'll kick their asses. You've seen that 100 times. I hate to sound like every other tough guy on planet Earth, but boy, would I love Alec Baldwin to tell me he wants to kick my ass. Seriously, fake Hollywood guys who fight with stuntmen. He said, think of how many times this guy handled a gun. He said the hammer dropped without him touching the trigger. I'm not buying that. Whoever put the bullet in that gun should go to hell. But he shot and killed a woman. And he's walking from it. Now, there's a civil case that's going to do him some damage. Chef says, Cosby broke my heart. Cosby broke a lot of people's heart. Now, he's so damn old, we don't really have to worry about him heading back to, thank you, Gary Mackey, free speech alive. We don't have to worry about him showing up too much these days. He can't see very well. But another great example of Hollywood, right? Because if you get convicted, you get a really long sentence, but your vision's bad and you're getting old, they'll let you out. If you're not an actor, happens all the time, right? No, it doesn't work that way at all. Most people actually have to do their time. Something I know a little something about. Pioneer in kid media with Epstein crossover winner. This is Geraldine Laborne. You may not know this name, but I want to tell you something. Hold on one second. Well, I think that's worth putting up there. Pause one moment for a commercial break. Sorry for the subject change, but Conan O'Brien opened the Oscars insulting people with lupus and failing organs, which is why I'm practically bedridden. This was so hurtful to me and lupus friends. Wow, that's classy, man. That's super, super classy. I am so sorry that happened to you, Carmela. You know, you and everyone else who suffers from stuff like that deserves better. And I'm going to go with Neptune's Lioness advice on this that says, don't listen to that idiot. Well, here you are absolutely loved for exactly who you are. That is foul to beats. Yeah. Alec Baldwin and his wife are selling their $20 million Hampton house. Must need the money. Well, we're going to do a little segment on this because I tracked down people in Hollywood who are selling their homes for anywhere from $5 million to $20 million less than their value. I wonder what's up with that. Richard Gere just sold a mansion literally for about half of what it's worth because they're all hauling ass out of the United States. Why? Well, if I had to guess, I'd say they're waiting for those other 3 million files on the Epstein thing to drop. Yeah, exactly. As you said, money. Cosby family in process of name cleanup, rewriting history is business as usual. And you wait about 5 years and we're absolutely, that's actually pretty funny. And we're absolutely going to see this get recycled. We'll see his shows come back and all of that because, well, damn, they're worth a lot of money, right? So they're not going to let those go. So this woman, Geraldine Laborne, she was Nickelodeon founder and president from 79 to 96. Later, a Disney exec. Well, there's a shocker, right? On Epstein's flight logs with her husband, Nickelodeon co-founder, denies any wrongdoing. But the kid TV empire built the kid TV empire amid unproven trafficking conspiracies. No criminal charges, convictions, or arrests. Epstein logs show flights, but no allegation of involvement. She allegedly had known all about all of these children reporting what was happening within her network and somehow must have dropped the paperwork into that circular file next to her desk. Did absolutely nothing about it. And guess what? Guess what? There's going to be no penalty whatsoever for that person. While technically not a Hollywood superstar, Jared Fogle probably does deserve honorable mention, and he should be getting out, I think, this year or next year. So his sentence is coming to an end. Let's hope that they keep a really good eye on him because that kind of bad wiring doesn't stop, and they will send Jared back. I do know somebody that punched him in the head, like knew him personally. When he was in prison in Florence, Colorado, I was incarcerated at the same time, different place. And I ended up on a yard, and the guy said, I'm the guy that beat up Jared Fogle. And I said, of course you are. I've heard 9 people say that. And then he actually had proof of it, and he beat the bark off of him, which made me really happy. Richard Gere only abused rodents. You know, that is funny. I'll let that one go. Best morning show meltdown winner. You guys know who this is. Our boy Matt Lauer, longtime Today Show anchor on NBC, fired in 2017 for sexual misconduct allegations. Multiple assaults, denies some of them. 2026, Epstein filed, name drop him, no flights, records, and he denies all ties. There's a shocker. He's keeping a really low profile. No criminal charges. You can sexually assault people if you're in that line of work. They're not going to charge you. I mean, they'll get you fired, right? They won't pay you anymore, but no, you're not going to do any time. You're not going to have to register or do any of that stuff. Good God, man. Number 11, and boy, oh boy, this easily could have been my number 1 award, but I'm saving my number 1 award. But this is a good one. I'll give you a hint. He's got tiger blood. He was an addict, just blinked, cured himself. The wildest personal life crossover to TV winner is Charlie Sheen, star of 2.5 Men, drug abuse, domestic violence claims, 2017 lawsuit for exposing an ex to HIV, which he settled. He's in Epstein's black book. He denies meeting him. Still acting sporadically. Multiple convictions. 1997 no contest plea to battery. 1998 probation violation and an overdose. 2010 guilty plea to misdemeanor assault and domestic violence. 30 days in rehab. Arrested in 2009 for assault and menacing, took a plea deal. No recent charges. However, he shot Kelly Preston in the face. Does everybody remember this? Or no, maybe it was the leg. I'm sorry, he shot her in the leg. But he shot Kelly Preston, and he said, I dropped the revolver, and it just discharged. And somehow hitting the bathroom floor, shot Kelly Preston in the leg. Anybody believe that? Put a 4 in the chat if you think that's bullshit. Kelly, thank you so much. You're keeping free speech alive. You have an aversion to Leonardo DiCaprio? Well, you're too damn old, right? I mean, maybe if you were 22, you wouldn't have an aversion to Leo DiCaprio. You could like him for at least 3 years until he decided to toss you out on your butt because he just doesn't hang out with women who are above the age of 25. And nothing creepy about that, right? I mean, I'm with a much younger woman. She may look 25, but she's at least 39. That's what she tells me. Here's a couple of things that don't get mentioned in here because I don't want to get sued, right? But allegedly, Charlie Sheen is also a rapist, right? And Corey Haim said that he was raped on the set of a film by Charlie Sheen. And the first time I heard it, I thought, that's ridiculous. And then I started to deep dive it. And the number of people that back this up, the number of people that say he came and told me about it right after it happened. I believe Charlie Sheen is a rapist, and I have a very difficult time enjoying much that he does these days. And what didn't help his cause is when he came out just recently and said, oh, no, I started having sex with men because I had already done one side of the menu, so I flipped to the other side. I'm not saying that makes him a rapist, but I'm saying he's been denying forever, and one of the things that he denied was, I don't mess around with guys. Well, apparently you do. So I think the guy's a rapist. He definitely is worth an award. I doubt he'll win one next year, but well, look at what I found lying on the floor again. I slapped Hamilton with a little touch of DNA, sending it away. Keeps this. You know what? I love this. Thank you, Daniel Phillips. And we're going to send that off, by the way, to Quantico. Turns out that place in Florida is really busy doing DNA stuff for nanos. But we will get that tested for you. You are a stud. Thank you. You're keeping free speech alive. Here we go. Animation's darkest creator, winner, John Falusi. He was the creator of Ren and Stimpy, and I loved Ren and Stimpy. Accused of grooming and abusing teenage fans since the 90s. Denies details. Fired in 92 for production issues. Yeah, right. Scandals resurfaced in 2018, although he's not been named in the Epstein files, which I was a little shocked about. This is going to shock you. 26 allegations. 0 criminal charges, no convictions, no arrests. Nice. Allegations of underage sexual and child porn possession. Police declined due to statutes of limitations. There's a statute of limitations on child porn? Yeah, maybe in Hollywood, right? In the rest of the world, that doesn't work that way. But this is why we're celebrating Pedowwood. This is their night. You guys are the best, man. You guys are the best. Makes you want to go out and buy a friggin' movie ticket, doesn't it? Me Too directorial disaster. Winner Brett Ratner. Director of blockbusters like Rush Hour. Stick around. Rush Hour is going to make another appearance. Hashtag Me Too sexual harassment accusations. He denies them. Shocked. Photographed with Epstein multiple times. Named in the 2026 files. Step back from big projects. Criminal disposition. He was investigated in 2001 for sexual battery. No charges were filed. No convictions. Boy, oh boy, man. You know what? As a bank robber, I probably picked the wrong place to be robbing banks. Should have been doing this shit in Hollywood, right? Because they don't seem to do a whole lot of prosecuting, right? These people don't seem to get prosecuted. Speaking of getting back to Rush Hour, number 14, the funniest Epstein plane passenger winner goes to Chris Tucker, comedian and actor from the Rush Hour and Friday. He flew on Epstein's jet to events, testified it was innocent, denies crimes. 2026 Comedy Award nominees could bring him out. Criminal disposition, no charges filed, convictions or arrests for the actor Chris Tucker. I will say this. I did this because of the tie-in to Brett Ratner, and supposedly these guys are very close friends. But of all the people I've seen in the Epstein files, he is least likely to have dirt that I could actually lay out on him. But I do think he deserves honorable mention just for, I think the way that this could have been handled by him would have been to come out instantly before the files ever dropped and said, I was on that guy's plane. But to sit and wait and see if your name is going to come out, to me, smacks of you're guilty. I'm sorry. The arm. Thank you, Cindy G. It was his arm. It was her arm that was shot. I'm sure that if I shot someone in the arm, whacked out on dope and said, hey, I just dropped the gun, that they wouldn't charge me with anything. Yeah, you're right. If you're not part of the sick club, you're probably going to get prosecuted. Why does America worship these shitty people, says Neptune Lioness? Here's the answer for that. We don't have royalty. We don't have kings, queens, anything like that, but we have Hollywood. And we treat these people like they're smarter, right? Half of these people can't carry on a conversation, but they'll come out and lecture you on why you ought to be doing this or voting that way or driving a Prius or not driving a Prius or all of that bullshit, right? And we somehow listen to them. I'm sorry, shut up and play your guitar. I don't want to hear it. I really don't, man. Entertain me. That's what you're supposed to do. You're an entertainer. Go on screen and do your part so that I won't hate you so badly I can't enjoy your movies. De Niro, right? I mean, I loved Robert De Niro films. I thought Robert De Niro was awesome. But now I got to sit out there and Johnny Scoville, you know what to do. But I would assume so. Exactly. Shut up and sing, right? For real. Do your part on great examples. There are tons of great examples of people where you go, who does this person vote for? Who does this person believe in, right? Reese says, people worship stars. I never understood it. Well, it's glamour, right? We don't see any of it. I love De Niro in films, Robin Ross. But as a human being, I wouldn't shit on him if he was on fire. I really wouldn't. I'm so sick and tired of him telling me how I ought to think, right? Shut up and just go back and let me watch Goodfellas, right? Because you were a great actor. Think of people like great examples of actors and actresses that will never tell you anything about their beliefs. That way, what did De Niro do? Just Google Robert De Niro crying. He holds press conferences to talk about politics. He holds press conferences. How big do your balls have to be to hold a press conference? Honest to God, who are you? You're an actor, man. Dolly Parton, great example, honey. Dolly Parton never said a word about her political views. And a lot of other people. Johnny Carson was one of my favorites. I saw him in an interview. And they said, you're not going to tell us who you vote for. There's a lot of people who say that that's cowardly. He goes, cowardly? He said, I'm not trying to brag, but there are millions of people that love me. And they might vote for whoever I do simply because I love them. I mean, because they love me. That's the worst possible case scenario. He said, I'm never going to try to influence anybody on anything. I tell jokes. That's what I do. Why should my vote be more important because I have a show? Oh, There's an idea, man. There's an idea. Off subject, would you recommend the book Behold a Pale Horse, Secret Teaching of All Ages, Morals and Dogmas? Very interesting read. Why do I feel like I read that book? Let me get back to you on that. I'm not sure if I can remember. If not, I read something that has a very similar title. Ricky Gervais said it best. They know nothing about the real world. Ricky Gervais, the reason that we're doing this tonight is because they're afraid to have Ricky Gervais back on anymore. So we're going to be holding it here. We're going to talk for the rest of the show about Hollywood. We're going to talk about a lot of frightening things about Hollywood. But before I do, I want to give the award of the night, right? And this award goes to Best On-Set Feud Fighter, Blake Lively. Now, I covered this in the beginning. I really did. And then it just started to get to a point where it felt foul. And my wife makes a good point. If you're tired of Hollywood and it's just disgusting, head over to Relatable Reese. That woman will make you laugh. And I promise you, she's never molested a collie, killed a beagle, killed any chickens or screwed a beagle. I'm sorry. That was a quote from a movie. She will make you laugh. And she's just a beautiful human being. And the reason that I get up every day and live. Go over there and hit subscribe. I've never, ever had someone come back and go, man, that sucked. Why did you ask me to do that? Everybody always thanks me. Actress from Gossip Girl and films like It Ends With Us, embroiled in a 2025 lawsuit with director Justin Baldoni over alleged toxic set behavior. Both sued, denies her side. Nominated for Best Actress tonight. Good God. This woman is literally maybe the sleaziest broad that I've ever watched having anything to do with anything. She decided to make this guy into a sexual predator, and he didn't do it. He didn't do anything. Her boyfriend, her husband, Ryan Reynolds. And if Ryan Reynolds isn't gay, honest to God, man, that you can't make that many gay jokes and not be a little gay. I'm not mad at him. I don't care what you do. But I don't believe they're a couple. I don't believe any of it. I really don't. They're such foul, disgusting. But her award, in my opinion, is the Hollywood Award. This is the best example of what Hollywood is. She got pissed off because she got a leading role in a movie, and the guy who directed it had the audacity to not let her take over directing the movie. She wanted to pick the songs, direct it, pick all of the costumes. She wanted to run this movie, and he didn't want her to. So she called him a rapist. Now, it didn't work because this guy did something that most Hollywood directors don't do. Most Hollywood directors yell, cut, and the guy running the camera stops. He said to all of them in the beginning, when it didn't look like it was going well, he said, when I say cut, keep the film rolling. So she describes all of these actions where she felt like she was being sexually preyed on, except the film's rolling. Buffy, good to see you. Glad that you are here. This is me. I do not watch movies. I watch old movies all the time. Why? Because those people, I'm sure that they were just as sleazy, but those movies are already made. I'm not giving Hollywood another dollar. Ever. I'll watch old films, films that make me laugh, things like that. Yes, Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds. If only. And look, I hate to be one of those people, but you know what my hope for tonight is? My hope for tonight. Oh, I did read that book. Yes, I would recommend that wholeheartedly. Behold a Pale Horse. They murdered Cooper because he was a whistleblower. I spoke to his best friend, Doyle Chamley, number of times after the murder. Yes, I did read that book, and I would recommend it wholeheartedly. I hope tonight that whatever they're serving these people gives them a little food poisoning. I don't want to see any of them die or anything, but I would love them to get the shits for 4 or 5 days. I mean, come on, who wouldn't love that, right? I mean, that's that kind of people. They're gonna get gift bags that are worth probably 20 grand, and they're gonna piss and moan about them in the limos on the ride home. You believe this shit? This is what they're giving out this year as gifts. They are the lowest form of vermin on planet Earth. The award for shittiest actress and human trying to ruin someone's life, Amber Turd. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Caroline in Canada, if you should be a presenter next year, that is a hell of a way to put it. Yeah, I mean, Amanda Heard, she dropped a deuce in the guy's bed. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a sick puppy, and my wife, forget about it. I mean, you don't want Reese angry at you, but But dropping a deuce in someone's bed, I think that literally crosses the line. Oh my God. The old days of Hollywood, like this isn't new, right? This isn't new. When they were filming Gone with the Wind, they were shooting up Judy Garland, right? Giving her dope before she went and went skipping down the yellow brick road. And there are books you can read on old Hollywood that would absolutely make you sick. And how back in the day, the guys from Metro Goldwyn Mayer and the guys from all of these different big production companies would pass around starlets that were trying to become movie stars. Those girls were passed around. It was human trafficking, but with a huge payoff, right? If you got chosen, well, then they were going to make, the Wizard of Oz. That's Oz right there. I do remember the toothbrush. That was my point. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to put this out there. I mean, doesn't she look like a sweet person? I may have watched her once clean a dog up from behind. He had a small dingleberry that needed to be removed. She may have done it with someone's toothbrush. Now, not saying that person did not deserve that, but damn. Florida court reporter, I enjoy watching Reese as she's funny, has her own independent style and takes life in stride. Life is too short to be miserable. I love that. That's a great way to put it. Just don't get her pissed off or she will absolutely she'll take care of her dog with your toothbrush. George Carlin was awesome. I wish he was still around. Carlin was fantastic. He had a way of not taking it all too seriously. He was one of Johnny Carson's favorite hosts ever. But Carson wanted him to guest host for him, but he never let him. And the reason he didn't is because he told him you would have to not smoke any weed before you came on the show. You'd have to not get high. And at the time, Carlin was pretty fond of smoking pot on a daily basis and said, not sure I could do that. Have I heard Charlie Chaplin was female? I have. Not sure I believe it, but I have heard that. Charlie Chaplin once entered a Charlie Chaplin contest and came in 5th. That's a true story. That is absolutely a true story. You thought we broke up? Where have you been? You must have just shown up. But it's a pleasure to see you, and thanks for asking. Actually, no, that's the woman I'm spending my entire life with, but I appreciate you being here. I'm out of touch with all the Hollywood BS. I didn't even realize the Oscars were tonight. Well, then you should get an award of your own. No, we're not broken up. That's why I have a wrench. Oh, I thought it was for people like that. Natalie Wood's supposedly raped by Kirk Douglas. The Natalie Wood story, and I'll do one. No one will come and watch it, but I will do a deep dive on Natalie Wood that will bum you out because everything about what they tell us about how she died and everything else was just wrong. I wouldn't go to see these celebrities if they were appearing in my bathroom. Here's the sad thing. There's a decent chance they might. Right? I mean, come on. We got some weirdos here. We really do. Wow. G-Man. You know, what Reese just put it back up where the person kept their toothbrush. She's nothing if not classy. The rock stars did horrendous things too. Oh, let's do a little greatest hits of rock stars. Pick a band. Every one of them was having sex with somebody that was underage while they were in business. Right? We could talk about Led Zeppelin. Jimmy Page toured with a 14-year-old. Toured with her. Brought her all over the world. This isn't BS. This isn't conspiracy theories. It's a stone cold fact. How about Aerosmith? Steven Tyler. Bingo. 15-year-old. Ted Nugent was banging a 14-year-old and asked the parents for permission to date her, and the parents gave him permission to date her. Nevertheless, how about Red Hot Chili Peppers? Right? We can even name the girl that he was with. He was with Ione Skye, big actress from the 1980s. She was 15. He was way too old, addicted to heroin, and she was actually playing the wife/mother role, keeping him from ODing on a regular basis. That's foul. That's foul. And this has been going on since the dawn of music. And guess what? All of them, they don't get prosecuted. They don't get prosecuted. I got prosecuted. I was 16 and a girl was 15. And I got prosecuted in the state I was in. Yeah. You know why? Because I didn't have a hit friggin' record, apparently. Heard some of these actors made deals with the devil. I'd be shocked as shit if they didn't. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I used to think this was the dumbest thing in the world. But the number of people that have come out and said, I made a deal with the devil. Why the hell say that? Because you think it's funny? Right? there's an interview that you can watch with Bob Dylan, and they're asking him why he would be on tour as old as he is. And he said, I'm paying off that contract. And the guy goes, you still have a record contract? And he went, you know what I mean? Like literally. And then later in the interview, the guy said to him, the beautiful songs that you wrote in the early years, the lyrics to that, how do you write something like that? And he said, I didn't write that stuff. And the guy said, of course you did. You didn't have a writer for that. He goes, no, I wrote it, but I didn't write it. Nobody can write stuff like that. Yeah, I absolutely believe that people make deals with the devil. I'm sorry, you can laugh at me or you can do whatever, but there's just too much. There's just too much hair on that. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And the number of people that still say this year after year after year, and just look at all of the different really weird stuff. Hold on. You finally watched Silence of the Lambs. Well, that's a hell of a movie. It really is. That is a hell of a movie. Another great example, though, right? The actor from that film. I can never remember his name. My wife's in love with him. Maybe that's the reason why. But Woody Allen, yeah, he got an award tonight. Rick, I gave him an award earlier in the show. I wonder if Billie Eilish wears the guy clothes to avoid any sexual harassment situations, since that seems to be a common theme in Hollywood. I don't know, but Billie Eilish is another one of those stars that came out and said that she sold her soul to the devil for music. And you look at people, Anthony Hopkins is another guy that didn't go out of his way to tell you what his politics are, and I love that. I really do. Ori Shorts, glad that you're here. Yes, thank you all. So Billie Eilish is another one of those rock stars that has said they sold their soul to the devil. And then you look at Beyonce, right? And you look at Jay-Z, and he sells sweatshirts, right, from Rockaware, which is his company. And the sweatshirts say on them, do what thou wilt. You know what that is, right? Do what thou wilt will be the whole of the law. That started with Aleister Crowley, and now it is the Satanists. They say, that's it. That's the whole law. Do what's good for you. Just do what's good for you. You want to bang a kid? Do what's good for you. You want to kill puppies and sacrifices? Do what's good for you. Don't worry about anything else. That's the whole law. If that were the case, do you know where I'd be tonight? I'd be at that friggin' award ceremony, and I'd be giving all of them a little bit of what for, right? If you just do what you want to do, I'd love to be there right now, stomping them out like a brush fire. Jerry Seinfeld, too. Seinfeld at least married the underage girl and has spent his entire life with her. But you're absolutely right. Obama wore that shirt, too. Well, there's a shocker. I'm sorry, there's a shocker. By the way, I don't want to get into politics, because last night I had the balls to say that I didn't hate Charlie Kirk, and lost 35 subs on that one show. So, but I will happily tell you that the Clintons, they get an honorable mention tonight. They're not Hollywood, but holy shit, is that a family? I'm sorry, and that's not politics. That's just disgusting. My favorite movie is Pretty in Pink. I wasn't born when that movie came out, but I love it. Yeah, why don't you rub that into all of us that saw that when we were 17, Buffy? Thank you. Appreciate that. Never heard a bad Rush story. Neither have I. And I saw him in concert, and they put on a hell of a concert. Miley Cyrus sure morphed from how she started. Here's the one thing I will say. I'm not a Miley Cyrus fan. So I was doing some deep diving into Miley Cyrus just to kind of try to trash her. Miley Cyrus doesn't have Ferraris. She doesn't have mansions. That woman gives away more money than almost anybody. She doesn't seem to give a crap about stardom. She's just into the music. I mean, at least the accoutrements of stardom. She's not out blowing all of that money that most people do. That's 35 people. Yeah, you know what? You make a really good point. Buffy, you didn't cause that. I would have said it without you. Yeah, well, Geddy Lee was solid, and my wife thought that Geddy Lee was a woman. Rush came on, and she went, "Oh, I love this woman's voice," and I went, "Ouch!" Geddy Lee would be bummed out to hear that. Although I'm sure he's heard it before. I have read Primary Colors. I absolutely have. What about David Geffen? You know what? Well played. Well played. David Geffen. Probably so if you want to go scumbag on Geffen, the best of it, and I mean the best of it, would probably be I've met Richard Branson, by the way. and from Virgin. I took he and his family around skiing for 7 days. I was the ski ambassador. My job was to take them around. They were at Snowbird Mountain Resort in Utah. Got a chance to meet him. Very generous guy, but he definitely is a creep. But boy, oh boy, he tips. So David Geffen really made a freaking killing on Guns N' Roses. And what he did for years, literally for years, was to go from city to city to city and just write checks to everybody. Oh, Axel banged your daughter. Here's 80 grand. Oh, they lit this hotel on fire. Here's $300,000. They're overdosing on dope. Send them to rehab. We got to get them back on stage in 5 days. And the story of what that did to the guys in the band, I mean, those guys needed rehab like no other rock band in history. Like no other rock band in history. So Duff McKagan. Duff is one of the guys from Guns N' Roses. If you've ever watched The Simpsons, Duff Man, the guy that drinks all the beer, right? He's the Duff beer guy, was named after Duff McKagan because Matt Groening, the guy that started that, was backstage. He had backstage passes to Guns N' Roses. And allegedly, he said he watched Duff McKagan drink 4 cases of beer. Think about that for a second, people. What's that? 96 beers. He said he sat backstage and watched him drink 96 beers. One right after the other. He made a lot of money on the Eagles. I promise you he made more on Guns N' Roses. I deep dived it. The amount of money he made on Guns N' Roses when they were going was insane. That band was selling out stadium after stadium after stadium at a time when tickets weren't $15, right? These guys were spending huge money on those tickets. But the worst part of it is no, that's not the drummer. So Duff McKagan, Groening says to him that night, I want to make a beer character like a Bud Light guy. Can I name him Duff? And Duff McKagan says to him, sure, no problem. So years later, the band's hanging out and they're watching The Simpsons and Duff Man comes on and dude smacks him and goes, there you are, man, Duff. And he goes, yeah, we got the same name. He goes, no, he named it after you. And Duff McKagan had no memory of ever meeting Matt Groening, had no memory of giving him permission to do it. None. He went to a doctor. The doctor said, you got to stop drinking beer. You can't drink this much. It's going to kill you. So he switched, and he kept switching from one substance to the next. And at the very end, he was drinking expensive wine, like red wine. And he was drinking a case of it a day, right? A case of red wine a day. And his pancreas exploded. So Duff McKagan, he is the bassist. Duff McKagan now has to hook himself up to a dialysis machine in order to stay alive because he literally blew his entire body out and flooded the inside of it with acid. And on the way to his book is fascinating if you ever want to read it. Absolutely fascinating. But this is the kind of stuff that Geffen did. None of them give a shit. You understand? You're a product. You know who should have gotten honorable mention in this too? Is Clive Davis. Except it's really not Hollywood as much as it is. We'll do this on the Grammy night too, right? So, but spoiler alert, one of the biggest scumbags in music ever has been Clive Davis. They insure you. You understand that? They take out an insurance policy so that if you stop making records or you stop being able to produce, they still get paid, right? And if you die, they get paid a lot. How many times do you think they've whacked artists? I don't believe that Whitney Houston died the way that they say she did. She just was a horse you couldn't ride anymore. It was pretty classless to have her body laying upstairs and have a party downstairs while it was going on. It is amazing that Duff is still alive. I think about that all the time. Journey. Reese, born in 1984. It has nothing to do with the story, but I'm a bit of a pervert and it turns me on every time she says that. Giggity. Don't shit on me. I didn't start dating her when she was, in 1984. She was in her late 20s by the time we started hanging out. I can't really tell you how old she was because sometimes I don't get the exact truth on her age. Class of 87, great class. Interesting, a little side note. If you do research, the class of 87 and the class of 88 have the two of the most notorious drug problems of any high school class for years, literally. Really, really a problem for people abusing drugs, class of 87 and class of 88. And it's not because we were the partiers. I mean, we were, but it was because we were that generation that grew up with our homeroom teacher telling us exactly how close it was to the nuclear clock, right? Class of 2006, says Buffy. You got to be woofing me. Are you kidding? I have stab wounds that are older than that. I'm sorry. But it's the truth. When I was growing up, I was terrified that we were going to die in a nuclear war, right? They told us that every single morning. For my senior project, this no lie, I'm telling you the gospel truth. You had to write a paper, and everybody in the school had to write it, every senior. And the assignment was, the Russians have just launched. You got 15 minutes to live. What are you going to do? No shit. That was our assignment. And I used to go into homeroom every single day, and my teacher would say, the nuclear clock is at 8 minutes to midnight. We just, the one of the largest television events of its time was called The Day After, right? And it was about it was a mini series for 7 days. And it started with nuclear bombs going off. And the entire rest of the week, we had to see what it was going to be like after we got nuked. And it was one of the reasons, that and some sexual assault. Those were the two things that sent me down the drug road that turned me into the douchebag that ended up spending, well, if I lived to be 100, I will have spent about 13 to 15% of my life behind bars. And unfortunately, I'm probably not going to hit 100. You know what? I'm glad that you said that. I have a friend who is a state representative. His drink of choice is moonshine. He drank until his liver exploded. Yeah, moonshine's a bitch. I used to make it in prison. Moonshine's really bad for you. It'll make you blind. I remember watching it and being scared to death. I'm glad you said that. Because whenever I bring this up, people were like, yeah, I saw that. It was no big deal. You and Molly Ringwald, class of 86. But seriously, my dad would have beat my ass if he even smelled a cigarette. Well, that's not such a bad thing. They still do it just with the doomsday clock now. Class of 95, by the way, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, they called it at the time. They didn't call it the doomsday clock. It was the nuke, but it was the same thing. That's what they were. How close we were to nuclear war. Class of 82. I used to worry about nuclear war myself. Yeah, it was really, really bad. I mean, you think about the music that came out. I hope the Soviets love their children too. Do you remember that song by Sting? All of the music, everything, man. I just didn't think there was a chance I was ever going to have to look at 30, right? I was going to get nuked by the Russians when I was in my 20s. Really funny. I went to Russia right after the fall of Russia. I got to go over there, and I met a cab driver, and he's now a prosecutor. I've kept in contact over the years. He was studying to be an attorney. He's now a prosecutor, but it was a GED of 84. Badass. I love that. That's awesome. GED of 84. That is just funny as hell. I'm sorry. Well, Buffy, I will absolutely be wishing you a happy birthday next Wednesday. But when I got over there, he said to me, I had a really bad youth because I knew you guys were going to kill us. And I said, what? I said, we weren't going to kill you. He said, yeah, that cowboy you had in the office. And I said to him, we were worried about the same thing. He bought me for my birthday, and I lost it when I went to prison, but he bought me launch keys, nuclear launch keys. When the wall fell down there, they had the keys that, one guy would have to stand like 20 feet away from another guy, and you had to turn the keys at the same time, and then you would launch. And he actually bought a little wooden box, and it had a flag inside and all that with the launch keys, and he sent it to me for my birthday. And sadly, I lost it when I went to prison, but you're the best. Thank you for being honest and telling it like it is. Well, thank you. You're the reason I can tell it the way it is. Class of 71 did a report on conscientious objectors in the Vietnam War. B. Rose, I love that. That's an awesome present, isn't it? I kept it on the mantle in my house for a very long time. Unfortunately, things have a way of disappearing. Happy birthday, Thought Criminal. Thank you for the support, by the way, Carrie. It means the world. And look at this. 5 of you just turned green. Thank you, Lisa Trimble. Congratulations again on 16 years of sobriety. That's not nothing. That's a really, really long time. And I hope you're very proud of yourself. If you just turned green, you can thank Lisa Trimble for it. Caroline in Canada says, one of my very favorite songs, Barry McGuire, Eve of Destruction. I'm class of 85. Eve of Destruction's a great time, though. This is an interesting story. War Games. So that was one of the first movies of Ferris Bueller, right? It was, I think, one of his launches. And that's based on a true story. It really is. That's based on a true story. They made a lot of modifications to the true story. But there was a time where the Russians, because of a game that we were playing, thank you, Reese, it was his first movie. I wasn't sure if it was that or what's his name returns. Dugan. Max Dugan returns. It was one or the other. But I remember the story of War Games. We had a computer simulation that was going on, and the Russians, it flicked their computers, and they thought we launched. And the amazing story about this is they were going to launch on us. And like, this doesn't come up in the movie, but they sent the order down to launch. And one of the guys wouldn't turn the key. Think about that for a second. In Russia, had the balls to go, I'm not turning it. And they said, what do you mean? You have to turn it. He said, I'm not turning it. If we're wrong, right, then my family's dead one way or the other. I think I would rather wait this out. And they put him in prison. He ended up getting out. They commuted his sentence. This is so much better than the Oscars. Well, thank you, Buffy. What a kind thing to say. And Carmela is turning 5 more people green. You know what? You guys are bringing it. It must be because we all hate Hollywood, because, boy, you're making me feel good. You graduated from high school in 84, Skeeters? So I know how old you are. I have a sister that graduated in 84. Have I heard the song In the Year 2525? Cat, before all of the traumatic brain injury, I had a memory like nobody on planet Earth. I had a memory you wouldn't want. Honest to God. Yeah, it's really hard to name a song I haven't heard, because if I heard it once, I remember it. I could probably sing every word to that song. For real. There's something with music and my ability. You can ask Reese. I know the words to everything. People find it really annoying. Wendy Fritz, Worthington, thank you so much. You're keeping free speech alive. All of you have brought it tonight. Yeah, I don't watch their award shows either. And I think if we can get them down to where nobody, and I mean nobody, watches them, then maybe they will turn that off. In the year 2525, if men are still alive. Hey, Tommy, thinking about it, I've never heard anything bad about Barry Manilow. Barry Manilow got his career writing jingles like plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a release it is. Yeah. There's a great album where he sings all of the stuff that he used to write. And he also worked for Bette Midler. He did a lot with Bette Midler back in the day. I like Barry Manilow. I'm not ashamed to say that now that I'm old. Monica Collier, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Remember the nuclear alert phone messages in Hawaii? I remember hearing about them. And people were like running and hiding. Thank you so much for the super chat. You're bringing it, people. This literally keeps all of this alive. Teresa says, I graduated in 1990. Oh, boy. If you graduated in 1990, you were in trouble. All those dirtbags I went to school with were always going after the 1990 girls. I myself was not. Terrified in 1962 as a kid in Tennessee. I was scared to death of the Cuban Missile. Oh, I bet. You know what's really odd? I remember talking to my father in one of my rare moments of not wanting to act like a tough guy and saying to my dad, this nuclear war thing is scaring the hell out of me. I really feel like, and my dad said, it's not going to happen. And I said, but I really feel like it's going to. He said, because you didn't live through the Cuban Missile Crisis. So my dad said, he said, you want to talk about some scary days? He said, those missiles were so damn close. They were 90 miles away. And, there was a lot of posturing. And my dad was a very unusual guy when it came to politics, because there were Democrats that he thought were fantastic, and there were Republicans he thought were fantastic. But he said, if anybody else had been in office other than Kennedy, I don't think we would have gotten out of that. He had a lot of respect for how that was handled, but it's pretty wild. Class of 86. Do me a favor, everybody. Swing by Relatable Reese. That would be my significant other. She was born in 84. Sounds really bad when you say it like that, because I was the class of 88. But she was born in 84. If you had told me in 88 that the woman that I would fall in love with was born 4 years ago, I would have gotten wicked offended. I'll tell you what, I would have come out of my shoes. But the world has her an odd way. Hey, Footscray, Locke, how are you? I'm glad you're here. I'm loving this award show. Good, I'm glad. I really am. The sad thing is, I used to love award shows, man. Like, I used to stay up late with them and watch them with my dad. But it is a very, very different world that we live in now. I'm sure that all of you are familiar with the concept of the red pill, right? War Games was an awesome movie. They changed a lot of facts, but it was based on a true story. That's absolutely true. It was absolutely based on a true story. And the guy that did not nuke us did get out of prison and had a brief 15 minutes of fame. But He refused to turn that key, or we would have had another nuclear war. You want to hear something foul? We used to have a deal. I don't know if we still have it. I'm sure we do. But we used to have a deal called Spoil Sport in the United States. And they were hardened computers that were inside concrete, so that if some chance, if there was any chance whatsoever that they could nuke us before we could find out about it, what happens is we would wait, the computers would wait 24 hours and then launch a bunch of nukes at Russia. So even after we're dead, we could still nuke them. And I remember the first time I heard that, I'm like, that's the sickest shit I've ever heard in my life, right? Like, that's so messed up, it's hard to believe. What is a red pill? Okay, so it comes from originally from the movie The Matrix, right? Take the blue pill and you'll just go on your happy life and have no idea what's going on. So I believed Hollywood was fantastic. I believed that our government didn't lie to us. I believed that MK Ultra was a conspiracy theory. I believed all of this stuff. And then while I was in prison, I never would have done a FOIA. I'm not that guy. I am now, but I was not that guy then. And you can do a certain number of FOIA requests as a prisoner per year. You can't do more than that, right? It's just not, it's not allowed. So a guy came up to me and said, hey, how many FOIAs have you done this year? I said, I don't know what a FOIA is. And he goes, Freedom of Information Act. I said, I've never done one of them. He goes, can I use your name? And it'll get sent to your cell and then just bring it down to me. He's like, I'll buy you a couple bags of coffee. I said, absolutely. And he did a FOIA on MK Ultra. And we went on a lockdown for 6 months. Now, you're not getting books, right? You can try to trade by sliding them under doors, but there's no new books coming in. You can't get to a book cart. It's hard time. And I'm in there and I had run out of everything to read. And they dropped off a stack of papers. I'm not lying to you, this big, this freaking tall. And it was the MK Ultra files. And I sat down and started reading it. And when I started, I was like, MK Ultra. And then I found out that every bit of it's true, right? Every bit of it's true. We did those things. And that was my red pill moment. I no longer believed anything. And I talked to an old man about it who was in prison. A guy I had a lot of respect for. He passed away while I was in there, but he was a mentor to my friend Q, and just a great guy, great old guy, old bank robber. But he said to me, oh, man, you got red pilled. He goes, it gets so much worse. He goes, I got a book. You want to read it? And I said, is this going to bum me out? He said, absolutely. And he gave me a book called Don't Know Much About History. And I read that book. And you just start finding stuff out that, like I always thought how horrible it was that they snuck in the middle of the night and bombed Pearl Harbor. And it just did not go down like that. My wife was 8 when I graduated. Seemed a little weird to look at that. We've been married 20 years now. See, that's awesome. Every once in a while, though, I'll think to myself, Reese is perfect. Where was she 25 years ago when I needed her? And then I thought, actually, if I'd come across her 25 years, I'd probably be in trouble. Was that the mobster? No, the mobster's still alive. He got out and he has done nothing wrong. I'm so proud of that dude because I know that they want him to take over and go back to being who he was. And he hasn't. He's just been a citizen. What conspiracy theory do you believe to be true? Well, MK Ultra is a fact. I don't believe that Oklahoma City went down the way that they said it did. I don't believe that for a hot second. There's a lot of them, but Pearl Harbor is probably the most provable one, right? We knew they were coming. We knew what day they were coming. We knew how many planes were coming, and we let our guys hang out in those ships and get. Sorry. Do you have any idea who you're talking to? No, it does not. Now, you could be talking about the red and the blue, but it wouldn't be pills, would it? Think about it. Think about it. Go back and look at it because there aren't pills in Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, the red one will make you grow or the blue one, but it is not pills. I promise you. It's not pills. In my opinion, MK Ultra could still be happening. In my opinion, it still is happening. I literally am at any given time of my life am reading Alice in Wonderland again. Like I'm always reading Alice in Wonderland. It's my favorite book ever. Boom. Hollywood is sickening cesspool, and Meghan Markle wants nothing more. It's beyond me. Well, caterpillar and mushrooms, yeah, but that's she's actually eating these little cookie things. I'm trying to remember the name of them right now, and it's I'm locking up on it, but it isn't a pill. Meghan Markle should win an award. She is absolutely. Reese, you are going to sleep? I can't have that. All right, people, I'm probably going to have to wrap this thing up. I would like to be able to say goodnight to my much better half. And if I don't, I'm probably going to get grumpy. Murder at Pearl Harbor. They were murdered. They were absolutely murdered. We let them die. And it wasn't, a couple of them. It was thousands of them. What's the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth? 3 days. I'd say probably 10 years, 15 years. During Kennedy's being elected, they cheated. And it's no longer a conspiracy theory. I can prove it to you. I can 100% prove it to you. Yes, I do remember the movie They Live. Had a Roddy Piper, I think was the wrestler that was in there. All right, people, I'm going to wrap this thing up. I want to go talk to my girl. I will be back tomorrow night. We will be doing normal true crime. I want to thank you to all of the people that came here and donated a bunch of money because it really does keep free speech alive. And you come back tomorrow and get a look at this and watch how few people see this. We just shit on everything that even the people at the big red button worship, right? So these kind of videos don't get pushed. However, every once in a while, the truth is more important than a paycheck, right? And saying things like rape, it's an ugly and a hard word. But if you've been raped, you know how much fun it is to hear somebody say grape, right? The number of people that have reached out and said, I'm offended every time someone says that, and I'm so happy that you don't. All right, people, between now and the next time I see you, say a prayer for all of the souls that are abused by that shit city. All of the people that go out there with dreams and leave with assaults, right? Or leave with brain damage or sell their souls. I'm Tommy. We will see you next year for one of these, and I'll see you tomorrow night for True Crime. Oh, I see. One pill makes you slow. Yeah, okay. You were referring to the song by the Jefferson Airplane. Good call. I stand corrected. All right, people, I'll see you on the next one. I'm Tommy. God bless. Have a good night.